Guess who's playing, huh? Loved you.
Guess who's playing? So the first thing I did before this interview, obviously, is like, I gotta listen to the discography.
Yeah.
I gotta listen to Coco Em's discography and see what we're dealing with, you know? This song is called Pesa.
Yeah.
Is it the money, Pesa? So this is a song about money.
It's about money. It's actually Lovely's asking, where's my money? Pay me my money.
What?
Yes.
I have a song about that. Okay, before we get too carried away, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Shut Up and DJ.
Are you talking?
I mean, this is the show where we're supposed to be DJing, but not really. We have a conversation. Has anyone ever told you to shut up and DJ?
No one. Actually, people keep bringing me the mic. They're like, do you want to talk? I'm like, no. I'm here to play music. I'm not here to talk. It's the other way around.
So you're an introvert?
How did you know?
I'm just spitballing here.
I am actually. I'm an introverted extrovert. Does that make sense?
I've heard that before, but like we always struggle to know what that means in lots of context.
When I'm out, I'm out.
Okay.
Outside. Otherwise, when I'm inside, like there's no bringing me out. There's like I'm not going out to shows. I'm just like just.
Okay.
Loving, self-preservation mode.
How's that working out for you?
Ooh, I mean, at some point, I really do need to bring myself out. I have a very extroverted, introvert balance of a partner who will pull me out into events and to meet people and meet community, which is actually very important.
Yes.
For a career like ours. So at some point it was working, and then now I'm just like, you guys, I need to connect with people. I need to meet. I need to talk. At some point, I need to switch the music off and express myself.
Okay.
So yeah, playing around with that now.
For my own personal edification, what would you rather be doing?
Guys, don't judge me. Don't judge me. I like to be in bed, watching some, I don't know, Tyler Perry, some nonsense somewhere, eating chocolate cake.
Okay, so
when I can afford it.
Homebody.
Maybe correct. Homebody, full.
So not like, would you rather be like out eating, which is me?
Why are we going outside?
Huh?
Why are we going outside?
So you're not a foodie.
I am an inside foodie.
Okay, so more of like a home chef, like you chef it up and like...
Even chef is a stretch. I like
biryani. Okay.
I like making biryani. Yeah.
So now you guys know what Coco Em's favorite meal is. Also, I've not even introduced my guest. I'm gonna get my guest to introduce herself. Please, welcome the legendary Coco Em to Toronto. To this episode. Please tell me the first thing everyone needs to know about you.
Okay. First thing is I am a strong Black woman.
I thought that was me.
I know I look small. I know I look small. I know I look short.
Wait, I thought being a strong Black man was going out of style.
Oh no! It's not.
It's not?
It's not. We still need like TLC and care and stuff. You still need to open the door for me. You still need to carry my heavy bags.
Okay.
I'm still strong. I'm strong-willed. I'm strong up here. I'm a visionary.
Wow.
I'm very resilient.
Wow.
You know that kind of strength. Although I look like a small girl. Yes. And that's the first thing you need to know. If you see me like this, just like, try and pick up on it. Because people see me and they're like, Alan, you mean you're this short? Because like when I'm on stage, I look very tall. I'm very like...
How do you pull that off?
I didn't.
I have some... Oh no! I had suspicions about that.
I've just outed myself. But you know, sometimes I can't reach the buttons on the end of the CDJ. And or like when I bend over, like my stomach will be like playing around with the crossfader.
This is that
I need some
perfect example of equity. Like when they draw the diagram of what equity looks like there's a fence,
raise me up,
and everyone needs to see over the fence, and some people are like tall enough, and like Emma is on the tallest box trying to see over the fence. But it doesn't change the fact that we are currently in the presence of a visionary. Once you said that you're not on the soft life trend, I believed you when you said you were, because even me, I'm not a strong black man. I want to live a soft life.
And we all deserve it. We do. Hard work is not to be like, admire, like, we're not supposed to be just toiling here 24 hours a day. We're supposed to enjoy ourselves and enjoy each other.
So not 24 hours. So how many hours are we supposed to be?
Maybe maximum 9 hours.
9 hours.
Maximum. And what are you doing beyond that? Are you even productive beyond 9 hours?
I think that number needs to like have 4.5. I'm just, guys, I'm trying to live a soft life. And then Coco Em is out here like, okay, please carry the load on behalf of all of us.
I will carry the other 4.5 hours for you.
Please.
But that should be the max. That should be like, you've clocked in, whether you're on a film set, whether you're on, you're touring, you're traveling, all those hours. By the ninth, you should be in bed somewhere. What are you doing? Or enjoying, someone else's music.
But then it shows though, because how long have you been on tour in the last 6 months?
Not too long. I mean, we've this year. It's not typical for me to be moving around in the earlier months of the year.
Okay.
So this year is a bit of an exception. But typically when we are on the road, it's like anywhere between 3 to 4 months continuously on the road.
Okay, so that's over. That's like 70%.
That's it. Yeah, that's quite a chunk of the year.
And how many shows would you say you played in that time?
On a good year, which was 1 year, which was 2 years ago, I played like 20 something shows in that period, like 21, 22 shows.
Guys, that's hard work.
Yo, that was insane.
Across how many countries?
That was insane. Because we calculate in cities and stuff, so I would say like maybe 7 cities. The issue was with that tour, because it was the first one, we're just excited. I'm just saying yes to everyone. Yeah? So I didn't factor in the travel between one city to the next.
Okay.
To the next, right? So there's one day I accepted a gig in Sweden. The next day was in Belgium, and then the third day was Sweden.
Back in Sweden.
Yeah.
So no.
Do those you've left one gig at 4 a.m. You're on a taxi to go to your hotel for 2 hours, taxi back to the airport to get a bus, get a train, get to the venue, sleep 1 hour, get on stage, play again 4 a.m., 6 a.m., get back on a bus, get off, fly back.
So there was no plotting, there was no travel plotting.
Oh yeah.
Who's your manager?
I don't have a manager. I have a tour manager.
Yes, this tour manager, somebody needs to have a conversation with, him or her.
No, it wasn't his fault though. At this point, I was just like very eager to take it on, and he's at that point as well, unofficial tour manager. Taking on this work, unpaid, at this time, and just being like, let's just make whatever mess here has been great. Let us just go, let's do it, let's make the connections, let's set up the tour plan, It was tough. It was not their fault. They definitely would not have said yes to three different cities in 3 days consecutively.
Yeah, that sounds rough to me.
Yeah.
But before we go, there's 2 questions I have in mind, and I'll get you to answer them in any order you see fit. What would you consider as your style of music is the first thing I want to know. And the second one is...
I'm so sorry, you have to run it back because me, I'm just hearing my voice here and it's distracted me. I was like, is this
so,
what I think it is?
This is another song that I heard going through the Coco Em discography. And before I'm going to say the name, it's Kwaraha Zangu. How did that do that pronunciation?
Zangu.
What does that mean?
You were just like, at my own pleasure, at my own way. It's my,
Okay. And it's off. It's her latest single.
Yes.
This is very interesting.
Germany.
I saw the. I saw the excerpt about how you made the song.
Yeah.
So this is like right now. This is like the first impression like most people will get of you. So it kind of segues nicely into the question that I was just asking. Like, what do you consider as your style of music? Can you just give me like a description of that?
Currently, this okay. So maybe just a brief description of what this single like means for me. It's coming at a time where I had just finished the first EP and was just fresh with so many ideas and so much motivation. And then suddenly just found myself hitting a brick wall. Every time I wanted to create, I hit a brick wall. Every time I want to put an idea out, I had a very defined direction for what I wanted, and it just didn't happen. And so I decided to lean into what was happening, which was everything was sounding very like melancholic, very like dramatic, very, a bit sad, a bit like, reflective. So I would say this particular project is like the embodiment of what the last 2 years have been for me. And it's been a very tough time. It's been a very tough time, I think, for everybody. Everybody's like going through the motions. The world, we don't even know where the world is going right now. Like you're either 1 minute you're just angry, next thing you're like, oh shit, I have to work and go make money because I'll starve. And then you wake up and you're like, oh snap, revolution. And oh my God, somebody's being bombed every day.
Which gives a lot of credence to that previous song that she just talked about. Where's her money? Like,
just like, can you pay us our money?
Used to bring out the phone.
Please, I can stop making sad girl music. But so Kwaraha Zangu is the first single of the project that's going to be coming out at the end of this year.
Oh shit! We got
obviously there's a lot more of
we got some exclusives. Exclusive. You heard it here first. I don't know if it's really we heard this first, but Coco Em is putting out an album. Get exclusives here. Shut up, DJ. So thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So this is very like it's an apt introduction to that because I heard it and. Before I read the excerpt, I could already tell like how experimental it is in terms of like the approach to the sound and the vocals too. It felt very introspective. That's how I thought about it. Like you're having a conversation with yourself alone, just trying to like process thoughts. That was the first thing that came to me when I was listening to it. But then now reading the excerpt about how this is a song that you made after a night out, just like putting ideas down. Because we all have those moments where we're full of ideas, just like, okay, let me just plaster the wall with all these ideas and see what comes out in the morning. And then you listen back to it. For the rest of us, most time you listen back to it like, what the fuck was I doing? But for Coco Em, it's like genius. No, I love to hear that. But secondly, I want you to tell us about how much influence where you're from has on your music. Because I feel like that's a big thing. I believe. Coco Em is Kenyan, by the way.
Come on, yeah. Who is?
You can see we're repping Kenya hard.
Oh.
We're repping Kenya hard. We're twinning. even down to the pants. We're matching. I gotta just mention that you can't see my pants, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Very unplanned, very unscripted.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk to me about Nairobi and the influence it has on you. Because I just came back from Nairobi, and guys, believe me, I did not bring back Coco Em in my suitcase. That totally did not happen. It's just a coincidence that this is being filmed right after I came back from Kenya. But yes, Coco Em is Kenyan. She's from Nairobi. And I'm curious about that. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, Nairobi holds my heart. Nairobi is like that very complicated relationship. You're just like, hey, you guys, you're just stressing me, but I love you so much. Like, there's so much happening on the scene right now that's like, I believe in some ways indirectly influencing what I am, the energy I'm coming at my music with. A lot of the young people now are discovering themselves and their voice. They're not afraid to experiment. So maybe also to just give a brief story of my relationship with the scene. I came up not so long ago, like maybe about 7 years ago, from a completely different, field of my professional field.
Which was?
Journalism. I was a photojournalist with Nation Media.
Okay.
And I just happened to really love music, and then got into getting my own gear, online, a small controller, Hercules D, controller.
Was it that one that was in the boiler room set?
It was stolen just before the boiler room set. We were robbed. Me and my sister were robbed a week before boiler room.
Is this in Nairobi?
Yes, in Nairobi. Nairobi. Other people see that I love it, but like my friend, whoever took my decks and my hard drives.
Wow, so
you're watching.
You lost a bunch of music in there.
Lost my music, lost the laptops.
That's like a death sentence for a DJ, eh?
Yeah, sometimes we're just like, just leave the music. Just, I don't know, leave me a copy. Just give me a week, I download the music, then come back for the drive. For you to drive where we parked the car. Just
what is a robber doing with the hard drive?
They just asked me another question for me, and no, I've had the camera going off.
Yeah, no, that one, don't worry about that.
Okay.
We're okay.
Yeah. So before music came journalism, and then just the intersection of learning what Nairobi was about in the underbelly of Nairobi, then coming to like this new and interesting space of like meeting cool people, artists, people I'd heard about, like maybe on TV and stuff, and then being part of this community also showed me new things, because I was like, okay, there's the word and the sense of community, but in reality, a lot of the people are out to make it for themselves. Like, it's very competitive. It's very, 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 we're like a sponge. We soak up like influence like crazy. Like, there's a style coming in, like I'm sure there's probably somebody who's already experimenting with singing, which is playing right now. But like, we soak in.
Was that
beautiful?
Were you talking about me just now?
Just put your business out here. Sorry, I did it. But yeah, we really we absorb a lot of this experiences, and then we put it out in our sounds, in our music. And so experiencing this from a DJ's perspective, someone who used to just strictly play like hip-hop music, I was one of those who was just like, just old school, like not this funny mumble. No, it's got to be like from 90s backwards, whatever. And then one day just having my mindset completely shifted from a workshop that we did in Nairobi with two DJs, Kafachi and Be Brave. Shout out to these guys, like
Kafachi now lives in Canada, eh?
That's right. Somebody asked us that the other day, and I didn't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna holla and be like, listen, you guys changed my life, because I heard them playing sounds that like I'd listen to, you know, by myself, you know, at home and on the laptop, and I'm like, what do you mean you can play this stuff? And it like
outside.
There's like an angle to introduce it in like a cool and like electronic space, you know. The people used to like laugh at Lingala music, be like, oh, that's your father's music, that's so boring, so woo woo. But like there was this freshness to having a space where I can introduce my ideas into a sound that's already being experimented with by other people. And so it felt very like exciting. And then Boiler Room came knocking after a friend called Mia Zipora programmed me on a show on Worldwide FM. I mean, long story short, I've been part of this like evolution of the scene that's given birth to very new, very like dynamic, like very experimental, very expressive young artists from a DJ perspective, but also from like an education standpoint, where I was working with an institution. I think you may have been there at the mall, Century, South Africa, and just teaching what we know, or like sharing the knowledge that we've accumulated from our years in the scene and from our, you know, crash course online with Ableton. Shout out Kamaru. Yeah, we did like a course on Ableton, a free course with Berkeley School of Music on Ableton, thanks to Kamaru's like, you know, tip, and managed to like see like about 6 women. Me and my partner Justin trained them. We sat together, we made music.
And this was when?
During the pandemic, 2020, you know, at a friend's house, 2021, sorry, like when things were starting to lift and we could...
So this was a few years after you started?
Yes, a few years after I started DJing. So like just seeing that burst as well, like has been very exciting. And by the burst, I mean like, you know, just a rise of new like producers on the scene. Has been encouraging, exciting. How has it influenced my music? It's just that drive to keep going. Like even when you hit like the rock, like the wall 70, 80 times, you just wake up and you're like, Allah, somebody is already online like posting how they've gone, they've dyed their hair, they're doing the Jägermeister campaign, they're out, then they're like on a band and they come back, and then it's just like, it's always moving, it's always like turning, and it always feels like people are in sync in some ways, but also seeking to like really charge through and innovate and command through like a space. No one's telling them what to do, but they're like, yeah, just soaking in and like purging out, soaking in, like, you know, processing and then purging out. And so I was like, you know what, just get it done, get this album done, get this music done, move on to the next, learn from what you're doing now, don't stay stuck. So that's how I would say like Nairobi is really influencing what I'm doing right now, or the scene in Nairobi is influencing what I'm doing right now. And maybe the messaging with the music, because I was exploring a lot of themes, I'll be exploring just like the rights to movement, restrictions of movement, and like, you know, how do you feel when you're in that moment? So I might just be like screaming in one record even, because there's one song where I just want to scream from like this point to this point. And yeah, I'm not just like, okay, maybe let me protect the vocal cords, but like, you know, I'm being influenced here by like what's happening. Where it's like so many restrictions, there's so much, you know, there's rage in the air. There's like...
This is not from you personally, this is just what you feel from your environment.
Yeah, from my environment. Okay. There is, I mean, there's a layer of it that's personal, I would say, but it's something that I take responsibility to work on. I wouldn't want to like yell at you guys just because I'm angry and just like make 12 songs of me being angry at you. But I do feel that like collectively, there's a direct, it's maybe not clear, but there's a direction that we're all moving towards. And it's very conscious right now, even with the air of new political awakening and the consciousness in that area, or like the interest to get into politics. That's very encouraging for me because like a few years back, it was really it wasn't likely that you would find many young people on the streets during like the protest. It was more people who were already involved in civil society, or like people who were engaged in politics would be out like advocating for certain causes. But now we're noticing that younger and younger people are pulling up and saying like, Allah, this shift thing is no good. Like, you know, my auntie has diabetes, she's dying. I'm out here to like talk about it, or like, you know, make poetry about it. Or yeah, go to the streets and eat tear gas just to raise awareness to it. So
you know what I find interesting? That when we started this, the idea was that you were an introvert. But then you did preface that by saying you were introverted extrovert. Because now I'm hearing that you were in the streets protesting, you had so much.
Like we're outside.
You had so much to say. Okay. I get the dichotomy there, but you're socially and politically active. You try your best. We all try our best. That's all we can do, really. Mm-hmm. You seem to be one of the pioneers of what we can call the modern electronic music scene in Nairobi. Would you say that?
That's big. One of them, yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
Because like the timing you just described to me was like that time, about 7 years ago, which is like 2018?
Yeah, 2017.
2018. Mm-hmm. Like the scene was just, not a lot of people were like creating spaces where electronic music was like evolving.
Yeah.
But you happened to just be one of those, like even though you were brand new to it. You did mention you were sort of a DJ at that time already.
Yes, yeah. I've been DJing in the bedroom for like a couple of weeks, and then
a couple of weeks, not even like
hit the scene for like a year.
It's not a couple of weeks. So, you were telling me about that period in 2017, 2018, and how you just happened to be at the right moment in time, coming in and even evolving your art as a DJ. And you happen to just catch that period where electronic music was evolving in Nairobi.
Yeah.
You can take it from there, or you can just expand on it and tell me, how is that translated into you being an international touring DJ? Is that the same essence that you're taking from home out there into the world, or are you learning new things as you go that you're then combining with your past experiences to present yourself through music?
That's a good question, and I like that you used the word evolving a space, because I did find the space already formed. There was already like a house electronic music space in Nairobi, pioneered by several other DJs who came before me. There's DJs who'd been playing like house and techno music in the Nairobi scene. But I like that you use the word evolving a space, because there was that, and I'm sorry to say this, there was that need to keep it pure and precious, like one sound, one style, you know, don't be playing stuff that's too loud or too like, you know, compressed, or like Lures, too many vocals, or like, you know, just faced a lot of like, you know, interesting conversations on my come up. And it was a mix of that and just being there at the right time. By the right time, I mean just at the cusp. Like we were growing up not so much with social media, tools to use to like advance our careers. And it was more likely that the people who started their careers before the age of social media, before it like caught on to being like
they were the
a
ones that
business
were
tool,
in charge then.
the ones who were in charge, and they had to like build it slowly and painfully for many years. And like you're advertising your stuff like, physically, maybe in the paper, maybe on posters in the clubs and stuff like that, and like word of mouth. And there was a beauty to that, but it meant that your come up might be slower, to the point where somebody maybe in Mexico might never hear of you until you're like, 16 years deep and you've been making music and DJing and you know all the gear and all the and then somebody like me can come in at like 2017, boop, and like there's this new space. It's kind of still new, sorry, I'm like a millennial, but like IG for me was so like, wow, what is this thing? And I post one video there and it's like everyone around the world sees it. And it's like, I want you to play here. I want to book you here. I wonder how much to bring you out to Belgium, how much to bring you out to, and it's just like, it feels like it happens overnight.
Yeah.
But it's just right place at the right time. And it didn't necessarily come with me having the right amount of experience. Like I said, I just been DJing a few weeks in the bedroom. I had a world of music experience from like my mother's living room, my mom's and my dad's records, like playing music on YouTube and playing, on Facebook, sharing it, fine. But like touring and playing and performing experience, I didn't have enough.
Okay.
And so bringing it out into the world, I had a taste of it with one show that I played just before the pandemic, and I went to a huge festival in France, called in Rennes, a place called Rennes, called Transmusical.
Yeah.
Huge. You guys.
And was this you brought out to play there, or
Yes.
you just happened to travel to France?
I was flown out to play there. That's back when they were paying flights.
Wait, that doesn't happen anymore.
No, unless you're living Google, you're like, a very big star. Like flights nowadays, they just, some of them just cannot afford to pay for DJs outside of like in Europe, for example. They focus on like the local DJs in the Schengen state, and then if they're paying you like 3 or 4 times the fee they would pay them, they can't on top of that now pay, right? And they've been like taking a while to recover also from like the COVID,
COVID economy.
Yeah, COVID economy. But like coming out to play that festival, I did my best, obviously, very naive, but like there was a freshness to that as well, in that I'm approaching it in such a new style that I have articles written about me after that festival. See, so my approach going out is not necessarily the same in the country, because at home you're comfortable. I mean, it's Alchemist, like Alchemist is the club I used to go play at.
I happen to know where Alchemist is, because me too, I've gone to Kenya now. Look at God.
Come on. I'm pitching, but we just need to give you a Kenyan name now.
Yeah, what is my Kenyan name?
Motiso or something.
Okay, it rhymes, Martin says Motiso. I have been officially named. Official documents coming soon.
Yes.
Shout out to all my Kenyan pals.
Lol. Yeah.
You guys having the story about Boiler Room.
Oh yeah, I should. I'm gonna.
How you got robbed, but you didn't
We
tell them.
didn't hear the full story about what happened that day. I gotta say, like, I could see a little bit, but just by watching that video, I could see a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that must have been a stressful day.
Jesus, that's putting it lightly. So okay, let me pull it back to like a month before Boiler Room. I'm like at the peak of my, what was it called, the Hercules controller and my Windows laptop game. I'm like mixing like crazy. I've been playing with this thing for like a whole year. I've built my music bank. I have like 3 hard drives.
Okay, with
music that I've been collecting since 06 and since I was in university, right? And now it's a week to Boiler Room, and at the same time, I am a DOP in training. That's a director of photography in training for my first feature film. Yeah, under a program, like an exchange program with this organization called the One Fine Day Films and Ginger Inc. production houses. It's like in Kenya. So these two film bodies came together and formed this film program. It runs for several weeks out of the year, and at the end of those weeks, we make a project, which is usually the film or like maybe a short stories or something like this. Yeah. So this is a feature film we're shooting, and I am requesting for time off to go and practice for Boiler Room. And they're like, yeah, no.
So before you continue, what did you put out videos before that sort of like got you into the mind of like Boiler Room?
For Boiler Room.
Or was this just word of mouth?
No. So I mentioned this maybe in passing, but I had just a chance meeting with somebody called Mia Zipporah. Shout out Mia. She was visiting from the UK and was working with Worldwide FM at the time. So online streaming radio.
Oh yeah, I did hear you mention that.
And she just saw me playing at a friend's pop-up. So I used to play at like my friends' like events and stuff. So I'm just doing my thing, DJing, and she comes and she's like, "You're sick. Are you free on X dates? Like, I'd love for you to perform at this show. It's a Worldwide FM feature on Nairobi. So it's exclusive Nairobi music. You would just come do a 1-hour set, take some photos, and then we just put it up on the radio on the platform." I was like, "I bet, yes, please. What Worldwide?
What do I do? Where do I sign up?"
Yeah, I went Googled what was going on, and then we did the show at the Alchemist. At the back of the Alchemist, there was a place called ED. From that set, I got inboxed by Facebook by Boiler Room. After they saw the set, so the set was filmed and the audio was put up on the platform. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and it was a year later that you did a second Boiler Room.
No. It was 3 years later.
Okay.
3 years.
A few years later. So continue. Finish the story about what happened in that Boiler Room.
Yeah.
You didn't have any of your music.
I didn't even have music then.
Because everything got stolen.
Let me tell you. Yeah. Okay. So let me pull it back. All right.
We need to finish this story.
So, it's 1 week to Boiler Room, and I'm going to visit my mom. And I decide, it's a week. I'm going to my mom's place for a bit. Let me carry all my music, my laptops, all my gear, so I can practice, right? So after work, after the film is, set is wrapped, I just go home, eat, practice.
Okay.
So that was the routine plan. That was the plan. So we stop at this mall somewhere in Kilimani, and everything is in the car. And when we come back to the car, open the door, and I'm like, something is different here. Why? This bag that was in front now is at the back. And my sister is like, "Allah, yeah, my bag is upside down also. What's going on here?" But we don't realize that things are missing. And then when we go pay for the parking and we come back, my sister's like, "Oh no, my keys are missing." Then she opens her bag. The bag is like ruffled up. Yeah, so it's like certain things have been taken. And I'm like, "Oh no." I open the boot, everything gone, everything, all the drives, all the music, the controller, the love of my life, the Hercules gone. This is a week before Boiler Room. All right, we go to the police. That was a whole circus, which I will not even get into right now. My love.
So Kenyan police is kind of like Nigerian police in that sense.
Actually, let me get into just a little.
Please tell us.
Pull up to the police station. And there's an area where you come and make statements, and it says, it says statements up there. So we're approaching the door, and a cop literally jumps out of the bush to scare us. So he does this like, wow. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening here? Then he's like, "Where are you going?" Oh, we were like, "We're going to make statements." He's like, "Who told you make statements here?" I'm like, it says statements above you. He's like, oh, okay, go. So we go in.
So after you get robbed, you know, you might have to deal with another robbery situation when you get to the police station.
Our patience is being robbed at this point. We get in, and this is probably the part that's like, it's both funny, but it's really sad. This woman is explaining about how she found somebody like was dead. Yeah, and she's explaining it, but the person who's writing the statement, you know, because we still don't have laptops for the people who make the statements, they do it by hand.
Yes.
So this man is there like, really? And then what did he look like? Oh my God, how did you feel about that person when you found it like that? Oh my God, how many hours? Like just really going in and forgetting the job is to document what this person is saying.
He was hearing gist.
Yeah, it was just. Who said he didn't do the same thing with us? Eh? It was expensive, yeah? That's expensive, guys. How many? Like just really getting into the nitty-gritties
of the robbery.
When we read that statement, I was like, no, what is this?
No hope whatsoever.
Nothing we said was recorded. Yeah, it was really crazy. It was
so that was a waste of time.
A very big waste of time. 3 years later, just being pulled back into court because they found the guys. And I like to refer to them as the Amoeba boys because there was 3 guys. Mm-hmm. There's one like, you know, a bit shorter, stocky, a longer, a taller guy, and then just a medium guy who's always angry. So the Amoeba boys were put to Milimani law courts with us. And it's either one day one of their teeth is hurting, so they can't speak. So the court case is pushed for now 6 months. We come back. The other one's eye is hurting, so he couldn't read the statement before. So the court case was pushed again for another 6 months. The other one was mob justice, so doing another robbery somewhere else, so he couldn't show up, so it was pushed up. Yeah, long story short, did not get the gear, but had to get new gear for boiler room a week before the set. It arrived 2 days before boiler room. I ended up having to rehearse for 2 days on new gear. I've never used Serato before in my life, and I've never used a Mac. And my friend had to lend me the MacBook because I couldn't buy a laptop at such short notice. So when you see me on stage during boiler room, just there like
you carried it with grace though. You carried it with grace though, because when I was looking at it, you seemed like just pretty chill. Maybe that's just your natural demeanor.
Yeah, also when you're tired, you're just chill.
And you were smiling the whole way through.
Yeah.
Just like, I wouldn't have. Usually, you know what gave it away from me though, that might have been a stressful situation?
Yeah.
It was the fact that this controller was on top of everything else.
Oh yeah.
Once you see like
and you see me doing this, like I'm trying to hold, I'm trying to put, like, what is she doing? I can't see the lights. I can't see which is on, which is off. It's like directly on the controller. So I have to do this to see what effect is on, which.
I thought it was like a stylish thing.
Controller.
I thought it was because I was like, there's no like LCD screens that you were covering on there. So I just thought it was like a swag thing.
Hey.
It was like a move the kids were doing back then. You're just like this. Because I see DJs do that when they have to cover their like secret IDs,
so that people don't take off.
Yeah, so they don't jack all their tracks.
Wow. Yeah, no, there was none of that. There was just like, let's get this done. I have to go to sleep tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. They're picking me up so we can go on set. That's it, yeah. But I was very, very lucky that day. All the people who I work with, they pulled up.
Hey.
My sister is there on my right, my cousin on my left, my friend's shock is behind me. Like my people were there, so like I felt very carried. Like I feel like that's probably what was coming through.
Literally.
Like I felt like, are you guys? Even it went off and guys are yelling. I'm like, are you guys? You guys, like you.
She was literally carried, elevated.
And I was so tired. I was so tired I didn't even notice the screen in the back. Like, see that big, like, LCD, whatever LCD screen at the back? I saw it in the video.
Oh, you never noticed that there was...
Nothing was there the whole time.
Damn.
That's how tired I was. But, yeah, that's the boiler room story.
So I'm going to carry you from there now to, 6 years later? which is now, you're in Canada. This is not your first time playing in Canada, is it?
No.
When was
It's my second time.
your second time?
First time was 2019. Yeah.
You mentioned that.
Yeah.
And now that you've come in 2025, you've played in Toronto, you've played in Montreal. What can you tell me about your experience so far? First of all, which one did you prefer?
You're putting me on the spot, and you know I'm playing Toronto. You know I'm playing Tapata. You're putting me on the spot like this.
No, you have to tell us.
You're the spot like Actually, okay, you know what? Hey, tough.
See, this is going to determine whether people are
Will
coming
you post
to
this
Pastor
interview if I say Montreal? If I say Montreal.
We'll post it because now your fans in Toronto are watching and they're like,
what do you mean? But you know, I'll say they're very close contenders because Bambino slapped.
Shout out Bambino.
Shout out Bambi.
Bambi.
Yo, thank you, Justin, for plugging me to Nino Brown.
And
What?
Tish is part of
Hey,
it.
Tish, young Tish, guy. Yeah, that night was crazy.
I wasn't here to see that. But I know
the
like
sweat. You could see the sweat, you know, because it was still winter. So you could see the fumes of
just rising up.
Of sweat.
Did it reach the ceiling and then come back down?
Yeah. They didn't need like whatever AC or anything like that or smoke machine. No. Just crazy
Steam.
energy.
I saw some clips.
Yeah, it's standard time. The sound is crazy.
That's a controversial opinion.
Yeah?
Moonshine was sweaty too.
Hey, no, Moonshine for me, unfortunately, it's like number one. I'm sorry.
Shout out my friends of Moonshine. We're all friends. We're in the club, we're all friends.
Yeah.
So, but still, we're in Toronto, and when in Toronto, you gotta like.
I gotta put it in the back of the neck.
You know what? My last guest, I coerced him into saying that Toronto was number 3 on his list.
Not gonna come second. You're gonna.
I mean, this was next to London, Amsterdam, and Toronto was number 3 this year.
London was number 1. Interesting.
Yeah, Fabric called his set a Fabric, and then his set with Descendants in Amsterdam. And then Toronto was number 3.
Like both of those venues.
Yep.
So let's do that rating again.
And
Toronto is
Montreal or just Toronto.
give the rating. What's the rating?
Okay, let me see. I would say tough. Can we go to commercial break?
Commercial break. Coco Em is going to be at Zapata tomorrow. Literally, tomorrow is Saturday. This is coming out like right now.
Really?
Okay, I'm talking about this again. You want to tell them yourself?
Yes, I'm playing at Pata tomorrow night. Please pull up, stretch. Big shout out to Rika. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I feel so at home with you guys, honestly. Like everyone who's booked me in Canada is family.
Facts.
And I'm just like so blessed. So pull up tomorrow. Expect to sweat. Expect chaos.
Chaos.
Shake me ass.
Are you going to play this track?
Which one is this?
Is this?
I don't have it.
See, Coco Em is not like you have to. We're repping Kenya. You have to rep Nigeria too. I feel like if there's anything that's within your wheelhouse in like Nigerian music, it should be this.
It should be this one, yeah. This one is actually a sick. And you guys played this. Did you play even a remix of? You played this in Nairobi, on the rooftop.
Yes.
Yeah. So sick. Sorry.
Ask him how he'd like to play in Nairobi.
Yeah, actually, how was it?
How was that?
Yeah. How was your experience in Nairobi?
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Playing in Nairobi. Kilele was an interesting set to play because what we do is there's literally 3 minds trying to come up with one set. So we have to like at least have a conversation about like what the idea is.
Yeah.
So it's like late at night and you want to do something experimental. It was not like a house or like Afro tech, or which we typically do. So we wanted to bring like all the more experimental stuff, and 2/3 of us are Nigerian. So we're trying to bring like some experimental stuff from like the Nigerian scene into Nairobi. That would be different enough from what everyone else has done there. But then 1/3 of us is Kenyan, you know, in a way. So we gotta like merge all of those together. So that was the thought process going into the set. So we're like, okay, we're going up in tempo, and we're gonna see where that takes us. And guess what? That's why I play some Singeli tonight, because right before we go on, there is Nana, and what's her partner's name?
Oh my gosh.
I forget her partner's name. It's like,
oh my gosh. You guys, that
and they were playing Singeli, and I was like, this is the most mesmerizing shit I've heard in a long time.
Isn't it? Like the bass, so when it comes in, it's so subtle. It's like, and the beats are,
and the dancing
is crazy. The speeds are crazy.
I was like, this is the peak of like electronic music in Africa, like period. That was how I felt about that, and I was like, oh shit. I just needed we gotta follow this up. Now we gotta follow this up.
Match up to this.
So I knew we couldn't like match up to that in terms of like tempo and like energy. So we're like, okay, let's just chill it. Let's chill everything the fuck down.
Bring the blood pressure down a bit.
Bring the blood pressure down, and then
those guys give everything.
And take it from there. And it was like almost like 45 minutes to an hour of that. I was like, yo, like it fit perfectly. Like when I imagine late night raves in an African context. I know we have like the house scene now that's a bit like it has this like Eurocentric feel to it, but that just has none of that. It's like my early memories of like night parties are like burials.
Burials,
yeah. So burials, you do like an overnight party, and this
you do that also in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's like they throw a party and you go from like
disco mata. We call it disco matanga. Matanga is the funeral.
Yeah,
that's the word for the funeral in Swahili. So disco matanga is like the overnight, like kesha, the party.
The after party.
Yeah.
So they're serving food, and then the music is just playing. And the reason why that sound is so like memorable to me is because you're actually not there. Because you're a child, they've probably taken you to go sleep. So you're hearing this music in the distance. So it takes on like a life of its own, like your memory of that music. You can hear it in the distance. It has this like reverb to it and this like low pass. And that's my memory of like African music. Like, and it's mostly like Fuji. That was probably what was like trendy around that time. So I'm hearing Fuji in that same, because Fuji is like that high tempo, same high tempo style with those mesmerizing high pitched vocals in a way that you're hearing like a lot of echoes on. And Singeli has that same feel, especially the way it was done that night. So it was visceral immediately I heard it. I was telling her, I was like, yo, this right here, like I'm coming back home and I wish I could just like sit and just listen to this like and replicate it in a way. Because imagine we're able to just like get like a bunch of Fuji artists and that's what we would like do a rave and it's
with the drums they do.
And then you have somebody's going, oh no, let's do that.
No good time.
So that would be crazy. So anyway, to recap, Coco Em has put Toronto. It's like the list goes Toronto.
Toronto number 2, Toronto number 3.
Exactly.
Must come out tomorrow.
on the list of my top cities. I mean, like I haven't played in London. I've been in New York. I think I've played like a little set. I played in Lagos. And I've got to say, like, because it's so recent, I'll put Nairobi number 1 because of 2 things. Because of because of Nyama Choma. Forget about the music.
Are you hearing well?
Forget about the music. Just give me Nyama Choma and you'll bribe me to say whatever you need me to say. Just Nyama Choma with side of kachumbari and really?
No.
You see, I would have been there.
Fake news.
So this is a very serious cultural exchange. Have you tried to see if you can find any Kenyan food since you arrived in Toronto?
We haven't. There's an East African joint close to where we're staying. Yeah, at Justin's cousins. It's Somali.
Okay.
And our friend just got us some samosas from there. We saw that they have chapati. They call it jabati. Jabati. So I mean, might be messing around with that. Like, yeah.
Later on today.
Inshallah. Yes.
I should carry some with us.
Yeah.
So you see, we've established that Toronto has all the food you could possibly ask for. Wherever you're from in the world, Toronto has it, and I feel like we have the best food.
Really?
Like anywhere I've gone, so it's like Toronto has the best of like international cuisine.
I was gonna ask, is it the influence of other countries coming together, like people in the diaspora?
That's literally what it is, because I've heard people say that the Caribbean food in Toronto is better than the Caribbean food in the Caribbean.
Allah! Sacrilege. That's a
Scum fights me.
Imagine. Hey, we need some Caribbean people to confirm this obligation.
It stands to reason that if we go and look for some East African food now, if we go and look for some Kenyan food in Toronto now,
It's gonna slap more than in Kenya. Yeah, get out.
Well, this is unconfirmed.
Yeah.
We haven't done this experiment, just to clarify. And does Montreal have that? In Montreal say the same thing? They can't. They can't.
Maybe you're onto something. In Kenya, there was this very famous Chinese restaurant called China Plate. And then one day I look in the kitchen and it's Indian. So I was like, this is the most slapping Chinese food ever. I can't imagine what the Chinese
And it's not Chinese
feel.
people making it.
Chinese people making it. So maybe you're onto something. Yeah.
So, as before we wrap this up, I want to know, like, since you're not a global babe, strong black woman touring across Europe, North America, how engaged are you in the scene, the electronic music scene in Nairobi? Like, are you one leg in, one leg out, or are you still a staple there?
So I haven't played as much as I would have loved to play coming up in the electronic scene, for various reasons. One being, I feel like the space that I would feature in still had to be like nurtured and created, right? Because I don't play very like exclusive, I don't just do one genre. It's like a bit of a mashup of a lot of electronic music influences, African music influences, right?
Yeah.
So that space still needed to be created and to be allowed to thrive.
Okay.
And two, when a space is still up and coming, there's not enough money for it, right? So people would like shy away from booking me because they can't afford me, or like, when I call them up and they're like, we wanted to book you, but we don't have your order. I was like, just call me, my friends, call me.
Have you guys heard?
Huh? Yes.
And also, by the way, if Coco Em's rate is too high, just call me.
You're ruining my business.
I just get it.
No, but just the fact that you can't really pinpoint where I would fit in at the starting years of my career meant that I was playing a lot less. And then now, on the flip side, that space has been birthed, it's been nurtured, like I mentioned, with people in the scene who kind of had the vision of it, like being a space that was like respected and like had, you know, enough sustenance to prop these new players up, these new artists up. The education bit had to be covered. There's people like Justin Doucette, who was like tour managing, my partner, DJ Shock, who's doing like crazy work back home, like, you know, just nurturing the new people in the scene, but also just like expanding minds to new sounds. That space is now there, so I find myself, you know, getting a lot more recognition, I would say, back home. I also kind of played into that stereotype of Africans who like believe that you are only someone when you've played X and Y and Z. So when people heard, oh, she played Last of Guy, she must be good, I was like, I was good, but it's okay, it's fine. Now that I'm coming back home, I have this like respect of from my peers, but there's still like a lot of growing that needs to be done, and a lot of like what do I say? We need to be moving together as an ecosystem, as like a full circle ecosystem that's thriving off of our strengths, because it's still quite hard to like just make a living in Nairobi just from DJ for all of these various factors. But even with the people who can like, you know, pay DJs properly or like, you know, sustain this ecosystem, they still have their like, you know, hardline preference. It must be this and it must be this, you know, it's this crowd, it's this, you know, accessibility. It's like still very like a fractured scene, so to speak. But I'm very much a part of it, and I'm very much motivated to find ways to feed into an ecosystem, because I've seen how beautiful it can be. I've seen that there can be space for everybody. Exactly like so me and my partner started this event called Nyash.
Is it?
We're going to call it Premium Nyash. And we're like, people might get the wrong idea about what we're doing, but it's okay. It's called Nyash, right?
Hey.
We're
Are you guys hearing? Sorry.
Programming.
Are you guys hear what she just said? Because she just said she has an event called Nyash. Is this what I think it is? Is this
to shake Nyash? Because that's the policy. That's the name of the game, is to shake Nyash. So we're like, stop beating about the bush. This is what you're doing when you come here. Shaking Nyash.
Okay, I like the name already.
Right? You like the name, right? So now one of Justin's cousins said like we'll be going international very soon.
Okay. And how often? How often does this event happen?
So currently once every, because we've just started, we're thinking of having it after every 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Right now it'd probably be every 3 months. We want to just like grow it, be very intentional about the lineup, about the community we invite, the policy that we work by, our ethos, accessibility, you know, just like having a good time, reviving dance culture in Kenya, in Nairobi, because I don't know if you noticed, if you go out to like some bars, a lot of the like, you know, the norm is to have lots of tables. It's like you're dancing, but you're like on a sofa, or like you're like this, and bottle service. It's like we need space to dance.
You're crying on my behalf. Because that was I noticed, and I'm not one to like scoff at things, but because it's very similar. In Nigeria, we have a lot of spaces where you can go sit and watch a DJ play and like pretend to like drinking alcohol, but not enough where you can actually go like experience music and dance and interact with people. Which Kenya had that too, so you literally had to go in search of it. But I found that most places where the average person was, it's just like a place you just go sit.
You just sit. You sit at tables as far as your eyes can see. It'd be cool. And so at Nyash, there's no table.
There's no tables. Nyash is my type of event. If I was in Nairobi, I would be with Nyash. I would be with Nyash.
Come on.
I'll be in. I don't think I should.
I'm sorry. Don't push that.
I'll be inside.
Into the nyash.
I'm definitely into nyash.
There we go. And so
That's my type of party. Is that yours? So, in conclusion, tomorrow, Saturday, Coco Em is bringing, an element like the essence of nyash into Pata
never
Pata.
put it better.
So if you like nyash or you like to shake nyash, this is Coco Em is your DJ. On that note, I'd like to say thank you for honoring the invite to come and sit down and have a few laughs with me.
Yeah.
And basically educate me and in turn educate the viewer about who you are as a DJ. One that does not shut up, though that was the one that doesn't just play music. Coco Em has a lot to say. I've personally seen that the first time I ever saw Coco Em was giving a talk about her idea and current mission to make life easier for African artists to travel. It's called Pass. And I know we didn't talk much about that. Was another thing I would have loved to talk about with you, but you would have to now go find out about what Pass is and what they do. If you're African, of course, don't need to educate ourselves, right?
Yes, you can check us out on our IG, check out our movements. So it's at Pass. Is it? Yeah, I'll just drop it with you.
Yeah, and I'll put it I'll put it right below this video here. Check it out.
Thank you for the plug and shout out my label.
Shout out to Coco Em's label.
Infinite for the patience. That's all I'm going to the patience. Because this album, is 2 years late. But
you wanna please plug that album.
Yo,
properly.
Album is coming out this year. We don't have a date yet, but it's supposed to come out in November this year.
November
and I have
this
a
year.
Series of releases before the album, and working on a live set.
Okay.
You see this now. You see when you give me the mic now, I'll be like, thank you. Bring the mic.
Just.
Yeah. I can speak now.
So now we're gonna go unleash Coco Em on Toronto, or technically GTA. On the GTA.
Yeah, on the
Fresh.
I heard it's called the 6. It's so gangster. The 6. What's the?
On that note, it's now 6 p.m.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Coco Em. Thank you, Justin, for making this happen. This has been Shut Up and DJ, where we never actually shut up. Thank you to my guest, Coco Em.
Thank you,
Martin says. This has been real. I'll see y'all soon.
Bye, y'all.
Peace out.